Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Analytical Fanboys. I am your host, the Vacuuminator, and I am joined by another Boingo Rider.
If you want me to do this podcast, I'm going to need your social security, your bank statement, your final grade from high school, and $20.
Shit, hang on. Where did I put that freaking box?
Today we're talking about Be Kind Rewind. I'm just stealing the hosting duties while Vac is continuing the bit.
Alright, I think you'll find that I have all the proper documents in order right here. Holds
Alright,
up
cool.
slip of paper that says, fuck you, I do what I want.
Alright, Ron.
We're talking about Be Kind Rewind this week, everyone. It's a movie from 2008 that I forgot had blackface in it. Chris, did you remember there was blackface in this movie?
No.
Yeah, this is from that magical little time, from like the late 2000s to the very early 2010s, where people were doing blackface again to make fun of how terrible blackface is. This was right before PC culture.
Yeah. This and Tropic Thunder, man.
Some beautiful moment in time. But that's not the only thing to talk about this movie. This movie is actually that's just like one little thing. The movie on the whole is more basically predicting the future of YouTube by way of making a movie about the current state of video stores at the time.
That and like parody culture, like there's a lot of little things wrapped up into it, but it never really goes like, here's the big statement. It's just more of like, here, hi.
Yeah, it's a lot less bombastic than I remember it being. Like, I think the craziest it gets is the montage of them like making a bunch of movies in one scene. But it's mostly a movie about character interaction and about a community coming together, which is not how I remembered it at all. Mainly just because a lot of people who are like the kind of people who got online because they made a ton of home movies when they were kids praise this thing for being like for having moments of people reacting to things in movies and doing shitty special effects and then seeing it back and going like, oh, this is the bit with us in it. Remember the day we shot this?
Yeah, and this is just a very sweet, and almost in a way innocent film.
Mm-hmm.
It's about capturing that innocence of just creation, but also the innocence of just scamming people out of money.
Yeah. Like it's almost bizarre that I almost called him Jack Flack. Jack Black is in this movie. Like he's probably the most bombastic thing in it, and even then he's like super toned down from what he normally is.
And it works. He's great in it.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite thing I've seen with him in it. Maybe the new Jumanji is like a little better of a role for him than this, but that's more like meme Jack Black. This is the best he's done as a quote unquote serious actor.
A conspiracy theory nut mechanic who accidentally destroys an entire business.
Yep.
And then pisses magnets.
Magnets. How do they work? This movie
pissed.
has no idea.
It's so if something you just need to realize, this was directed by a French dude, and Frenchy film stuff is just all over this movie.
Yeah, kinda.
This was directed by the same dude who did Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh wow, I didn't realize that. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of the style of effects and like the the weird shit they get up to and just the way the characters interact. I can totally see that. Um, so I gotta ask though, is this a movie that you've ever been super into just because of the Ghostbusters stuff?
I've always liked the movie. It's just never been like it's one of those like solid 7 out of 10 movies. You know what? It's really good, and I wouldn't be mad if it was on, but like it's there.
Yeah, it's not a huge go-to, but like when I was looking for movies to add to the list, this was definitely one that just popped out at me because it has that whole it really captures the a sort of zeitgeist that we're even kind of past now, where the internet was very much about parody culture and about doing stuff with copyrighted material, and then about people coming to enforce copyright law and not even really comprehending how copyright law works, because all the shit they do in this movie, all of the tapes that get destroyed, technically that kind of falls under parody protection.
Yeah, but also like I think it's the fact that it was pre-recorded tapes is a bigger problem for the whole
Yeah.
thing.
It's physical property, and that gets into another more current sort of debate issue, which is companies being like, yeah, you don't physically own this disc that you bought.
Yeah, fuck software as a service.
Mm-hmm.
Just fuck that in general. I am never going to touch Adobe with anything ever. Because fuck that business practice.
I touch Adobe regularly, but that's because I pirated it.
But we haven't really talked about the plot of said movie.
Yeah. So guy lives and works out of a VHS store that is run by an older man who raised him and told him that a famous jazz musician was born in the building. And the building's very run down. The city wants to renovate it, and the owner decides to
turn
leave
it into
for a weekend.
condominiums.
Yeah. And the owner decides to leave for the weekend to kind of think about it. And while he's gone, their friend, kind of air quotes there, played by Jack Black, decides to go and sabotage a power plant because he's insane and thinks it's been giving him headaches and making him come up with conspiracy theories. And he ends up getting himself magnetized. And he goes in the shop while he's still magnetized, erases all the tapes. People want to rent certain movies, and they're like, shit, we can't find copies of these movies on VHS anymore. People are going to know that we screwed up if we give them a DVD. Let's just reshoot the whole movie ourselves. And
because no one's never gonna pick that up.
Mm-hmm. Which is a question you can sort of bring up with this movie is like, and I think it's sort of up to viewer interpretation of, do people realize it and they're enjoying them because they're these bad home video versions? Or is it supposed to be within the internal logic of the movie they're actually making really good stuff and nobody realizes it's them?
I personally believe that the first old lady was the second one. She didn't realize what the fuck was going on. But the people who picked the movie up afterwards immediately picked up on it and just wanted to enjoy the schlock. And then everybody afterwards knew what they were getting into. Because they were specifically asking for their version, which was sweeted.
Yeah, I like that. I also really like the kind of clientele they get in this movie, the sort of like character tailor-made for characters we get at certain points in this, because they all feel very realistic regular customers that would still be going to a place like this that is pretty much dead. Like it really took me back to when I was working at the gas station, just the kind of bizarre people you get walking in. like the weird old church lady and her gangster nephew, and then just like this crazy uptight picky, I'm gonna call corporate guy. Oh, that was good stuff.
Yeah, and eventually you just get everybody into the whole vibe of it, and it's really cool and it's wholesome, and it's just like, yeah, we're just making shit.
And like I really like how they do that without ever having a big and the store is saved now moment. Like the ending of the movie is everybody like clapping and being like, you did a good job making that original film. But the city planner never comes up and goes like, yeah, actually, fuck it, we're not going to make the condominiums now. It fades to black, and it's like, yeah. After that, they probably all moved out of the building and got on with their lives.
But they may have still made films for their fun. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
It's all about the spontaneity of creation and all that kind of jazz. And I completely have forgotten about the third partner in all the movies, which was the woman.
Yeah, because she is kind of added on. I think they just realized that the cast was too much of a sausage party, so they written in a new plot. But she does add a few interesting layers to certain scenes. And I love the ending bit where what's his name, Mike, I think it is, the black guy. He's shooting the final scene for the Fats movie, and she's like running up to get him because everybody's been waiting 20 minutes, and she's like, come on, we gotta go. And he's like, I'm getting the final shot. And she's like, it doesn't have to be perfect, people just want to see it. It's like, ooh, that's a great little message that every YouTuber needs to take to heart.
Mm-hmm. But also, like, I think probably the more logical reason why she's in the movie is because as they were writing the script, they were in like, we need a third person so we can have Jack Black and Mos Def make the movies together, and they need someone to hold the camera because they can't just keep swapping it back and forth.
That's fair.
Yeah. But she's genuinely a great part of the whole trio because you have Mos Def with a sort of like, aw shucks, G Willikers kind of, I'm a good guy. I'm just trying to do my best. And you have Jack Black being
Jack Black.
Jack Black. So having someone basically go like, all right, you nut up, you calm down, balances them out.
Mm-hmm. You need a third person there to bring a real business sense to things. You need someone to manage the tag team.
This is their Selena Vega.
That's exactly where I was going.
She basically gets a bunch of dumb computer chips and says, hey, if you tape this to your VHS, your VCR, it turns into a DVD player. And it's just like, oh my God. That is grade A fucking shit.
That is some carny shit, and I'm all about it, sister.
All the carny.
Mm-hmm.
The mentor dude is pretty cool.
Yeah, Mr. Fletcher's great. I like how he's a very indicative of a lot of actual people you'd see at the time, because this was right in the middle of the financial crisis coming on, and a lot of people getting hit hard, especially a lot of older people who had run mom and pops forever. And he feels like a very realistic portrayal of that.
Especially just giving popsicles away to kids. Just like, hey man, keep safe, kids. And the way he calls on the one repeat customer every day, and you know damn well he's doing it because he has an old man crush.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just oblivious to it. And it's adorable.
Yeah. Oh my God, I just connected the dots. What if she's the one who got away that he's talking about in that opening scene? When they're all
it
eating
might be because it does seem like she's kind of a widower in a house all by herself, and she's taking care of a bunch of people.
That's
So it could
mm.
it
now
could
now
be
we
it could be.
now we just need to make our big clickbaity video, the hidden love story of Be Kind Rewind. In the thumbnail it says, "You never saw this," with a big red arrow pointing towards the old lady.
Like, looking at this movie, it makes me really wish that instead of doing this concept as just one and done movie, it was like an Adult Swim live action series.
Yeah. I mean, you could probably take the concept and just do something similar, but with slightly different circumstances as a series. Especially now it's been so long since the movie's come out. It's over 10 years old now.
Scratch that. Someone did. It was what Nostalgia Critic did after he tried to kill the Nostalgia Critic.
Okay, we're trashing this whole podcast. This is a no-go. I'm no longer endorsing this endeavor.
That's exactly what he was trying to do. He was trying to do this movie, but with like 10,000 times less charm.
Yeah, because he's a sleazeball and he can only play sleazeballs, so he made the main character a sleazeball.
Well, while in this movie, this whole admittedly carny ass business is floated up by a guy with a genuine heart behind it, a dude who's childlike enough to kind of just go like, you know what, fuck it, we're making movies. It doesn't matter if they're shit. We're making movies. We're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't have a carny be the main character, and even if it is a carny, she's not a carny for herself. She's a carny for them.
Mm-hmm.
She's wheeling and dealing not because she's trying to get the cheddar. She's going like, no, you guys need the money to keep this place open.
And it doesn't feel like it's
Like,
it doesn't feel malicious at all. Like she's coming in and going like, "Oh, you poor idiots. Here. No, dude, you go do this, you know that, do that."
and it works, and that's what the montage really gets across, the one-shot montage of just like, she's the thing that keeps them running, because without her, they argue all the time, and that's what they showed in the first two times they were making a Swede.
Mm-hmm. But they just get a full-on assembly line going, and that's some of the funnest stuff is when you see them just doing a bunch of Swedes all at once. Because the first two are kind of neat, but then it's just ramped up to 11 in those montages, and I really liked that.
I really liked the quick use of like hack together effects.
Oh yeah.
Like, I love the forced perspective with the King Kong.
Mm-hmm. And the oh god, when they're doing Lion King and they just cut out from a bunch of sheets.
Yeah, it's I don't want to say it's genuine, like, oh man, we could do that to make a movie. It's more of like, you know what? There's aspects of what movie making that we have not tapped in, that people have not tapped into, that low budget people can exploit. Like, there was, I think I've talked about it once. There was this indie film where basically a dude makes a giant cardboard labyrinth, and it turns into a labyrinth like Greek mythology.
Oh.
And it's all built out of cardboard. All the monsters in it are cardboard. The Minotaur is just a buff dude with a giant cardboard bull head on top.
Nice.
And it's like, it's a really cool looking movie, but because it's low budget, they had to use cardboard, so it has this really cool look.
Mm-hmm. That's what they call art through adversity.
And like, in a way, your videos, my videos, and any YouTuber's videos are like that. Like you posted a meme earlier of Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy fully embodies the creative spirit that this movie is going like, it should be celebrated.
Mm-hmm.
like this movie's being the elite. This is the broken universe. This is
Z True Long
that kind
Island
of
story.
We're just talking wrestling because half our frame of reference is wrestling. I'm
It's
sorry,
our
people.
fallback. It's slowly consuming our souls.
It's wrestling, comic books, and for me, video games, and for you, general tokusatsu.
Yeah. It's a glorious life we live, but I think that's all we have to say about Ready Player One. We were kind of spinning our wheels at a few points there. So you want to find out what we're going to talk about next time?
Sure.
Okay. Next time on Analytical Fanboys, we will be discussing. Come on, show me with the thing. Show me the thing. TNA No Surrender 2007.
Okay, wrestling.
Yes. This
That's
is the
not
pay-per-view where Kurt Angle had every male Impact championship, and he defended each one of them in the same night.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's gonna be exciting.
Mhm.
Oh.
But
All right.
speaking of exciting things in life, Chris, what have you been up to this week? And I think given the fact that we're now more open to multi-person podcasts, we should from now on do the it more just as throwing out a couple things that have been catching the most of our interest lately.
Right.
Instead of like a list or inspection.
Yeah. I think that worked when it was just two of us and we were trying to figure out what we're doing, but fuck it, we're good. We're good at conversation now.
Yeah,
We
and
we talk people.
Yeah. This podcast really, I think, especially in the last 10 to 20 episodes, has gone from being two YouTube schmucks trying to get to know each other because they want to work together more to being a, how did you word it? A book club, but for all types of media.
Yeah.
And for that reason, we want to be able to expand the roster out, and we have to accompany the format for that. So just give me one or two things that you've really been into lately, and talk about them as much as you want until I say, "Hey, shut the fuck up! I don't care anymore."
Well, one thing I think we need to talk about is we had the indirect this week. I sent it to you, and you watched some of it at least.
Yeah,
where they talked about some of the customer dissatisfaction with the first run of Pass, but they did announce that they had new Pass Plus and Pass Premium with UFace.
Mm-hmm.
And they did go through a lot of the legal questions that many customers were concerned about this whole deal, about the 40 acres, the mule, the pound of flesh, all that stuff. Should we continue with the fucking joke, because it's not our joke?
I don't know. It's such an exciting product, Chris. And like I've heard, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I heard something about like they want to expand out into other colors and letters. Like that's huge. That's huge.
Oh,
Can you picture that?
K-Pass.
Hmm.
Just imagine that.
I want my W pass.
S-Pass.
Oof. My Z pass.
Oh, Z-Pass. That just to
Yeah.
think of all the opportunities you can use with the Z-Pass.
Yeah. Especially with,
and just imagine UFace just being able to change your skin color.
Okay, fucking explain the shit to our audience.
Okay, so I've been an avid fan of the Super Best Friends for a while, pre and post breakup. And post breakup, two of the members, Wooly and Pat, started a podcast called Castle Super Beast. And And Wooly, a big black man with dreadlocks. I want to inform you of that because it's important for the bit and it makes the bit less offensive and more offensive. Basically, the joke is Wooly finds racism hilarious and he's selling fraudulent N-word passes to people. And Pat is basically grilling him on the legal aspect of all of this for 40 goddamn minutes.
It's so wonderful. It's some of the best content some of the best satire I have seen in ages. It is a sight to be beheld.
He is the CEO of EA, but for racism.
Yeah. That's it exactly.
It's just a brilliant bit. Like, Pat will ask a genuine question of, like, how much is it gonna cost? And he goes like, 40 acres and a mule. And it's like, how much is that? How much is that realistically? And Wooly's just going like, we'll figure it out. It's legal. That's legal. And then then Pat Googles how much is an acre. And he goes like, Wooly, that's like $100,000. Are you sure you're going to be able to do this? And he's like, yeah, no, we'll sell it to influencers. Influencers are going to want to say the N-word.
Yeah.
You can't sell a pass that expires before... you can't sell a digital pass that expires before the invention of electricity. So many great lines. It really... It breaks down... It breaks down how we see, like, race relations in a way, and also just how we've come to accept slimy corporations just acting.
Yep.
And the best part is someone made a fan website based off the bit as if it was an actual product.
Excellent.
In a vibe, a word, an experience.
It's great. Anything else you've been majorly getting on this week?
I finally actually sat down and listened to some Code Orange.
Code Orange.
Code Orange. I misspoke.
Oh, yeah, I still don't know what that is.
They did the new Bray Wyatt theme. They did the special takeover version of Aleister Black. And Few has worn several of their t-shirts.
Oh, Jesus.
It's a metal band.
I would imagine so, and like I will admit I've listened to the Fiend's theme quite a few times. I do enjoy it.
It's their number one song on their Spotify, which is a little sad.
I mean, that's kind of how it works when you do a theme song for WWE.
Yeah, but they're pretty well respected, critically acclaimed metal band. I listened to some of them because I was building up a playlist to Motu, because I didn't want to just use my the playlist I've been using, because they're very shotgun. It's a lot of slow, a lot of fast, and I just wanted a bunch of like steady beat, pounding bass, booming songs just to kind of keep an energy up.
Good.
So I had that. I had some Run the Jewels. I had some ska punk. I think I had Real Big Fish. I had some Less Than Jake, Goldfinger, Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. I had Clipping, which is one of my favorite hip hop groups, other than Run the Jewels. Oh man, did you hear Run the Jewels' new song?
It's in my music to listen to playlist.
It's so good. The whole premise of the music video is basically, hey, capitalism has fallen. We're fucking partying.
Nice.
That's the whole point of the music video. It's great. I've also just been listening to a bunch of city pop because fuck yeah.
Yeah, city pop's the best, man.
I was doing some dishes while just fucking jamming out to some city pop. Let's see. I'm just gonna go through the playlist I made. Wu-Tang Clan, Shame on shit. I need to buy Wooly's In Pass. and Pass Plus Premium to say this song title. Fun fact, System of a Down, which are all technically white dudes, did a cover of this song with members of Wu-Tang, and they full on said the word. It's great.
Nice.
But also they're like Armenian, which is kind of like white dude, but with like an asterisk. Like, you know how Irish people were in the early 1900s.
Dude, I have been asked by coworkers if I'm Armenian due to how much body hair I have.
I mean, I definitely can see you being like Eastern European in some way.
It's entirely possible it's somewhere back there down the line, but according to my parents, we're Scottish and Irish, and that's it.
Yeah, no, if you're Scottish and Irish in America, you have a bunch of other shit in you.
Yeah, probably.
Let's see. KMFDM, Ministry, Rammstein, Prodigy.
Mm-hmm.
Dragula by Rob Zombie.
Whoa, yes.
I fucking love that song. It's so great that he has a rhyme scheme of itches, but he never says the word bitches. Like, he could have really sunk that. He could have really just went like, you know what, fuck it, bitches. But he didn't. He was like, you know what, I'm above that.
Rob Zombie has more... I'm not a Rob Zombie fan, but I feel like I have more respect for him than I do most musicians, just because of some of the like positive dad vibes he emits outside of his persona.
Yeah, him and his brother are like some really good, like, you'll want some weird early 2000s, late 90s ass fucking industrial rock. Yeah, they're good. They're good dudes.
And also, like, remember that time he stood up for baby metal? That was dope as fuck.
Yeah. Any metal musician who shits on baby metal is fucking insecure and a dipshit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I haven't watched a ton of like TV shows, anything like of that nature.
That's understandable.
It's just I just haven't gotten into it. It just doesn't feel right. I have been watching Quizzlemania.
Yeah, you've been telling me about that. I'm probably like way behind you now.
I'm on the latest episode. I finished it.
Okay, I still have not gotten past the episode where Brian Zane becomes champion. By the way, for those of you who don't know, because I'm sure there's probably plenty of people who listen to this show that aren't wrestling fans, Quizzlemania is a YouTube live stream show that's been going on while a lot of people are still in quarantine. That is based around who is the best at dumb wrestling trivia.
And so they get a bunch of YouTube wrestling personalities to come in and basically be the guests on the show. And it is genuinely a pretty dang good game show.
Mm-hmm. Our boy Adam Blampier is the host, and he's fucking great at it.
Oh, he can play the smug asshole perfectly, but he also plays it in a way that's like he's rooting for his home team all the time. It's perfect.
Also, Chris, whose nips are these?
Whose nips are these?
Whose nips are these?
That's my favorite segment.
It's so good.
To explain the segment to people, Adam shows a cropped photo of a professional wrestler's nipples, and all of them have to guess who it is. That's the whole game. And he will throw in some random fuckers. And the best thing is when he gets like a really tanned white dude and you just see the nipples and someone inevitably goes, "Is that Bobby Lashley?"
Or fucking just how the way they'll try and justify it, like the positioning of the nipples, like, oh yeah, that's totally Brock Lesnar. Look how pouty those nips are.
All the while, Adam is just going, "Whose nips are these?"
Yeah, it's great.
It is the only. It's a certain kind of content that can only come from YouTube wrestling fans.
Mm-hmm. Which shitty I'm trying to words. Who does this shitty tattoo belong to?
And the way they try to figure it out is great. And like he'll randomly just bring in Michael Cole.
Yeah.
The 20 questions one where he just comes up with a wrestler and they have 20 questions to figure out who it is. And some of them get to like the last 2 or 3 questions and they still can't figure it out. And then
it's
once
so
they explain,
hilariously obvious.
and once they explain it, it's like the first one of that example is it got to like 17, 18. No, he didn't even get a right answer. It was Owen Hart.
Yeah.
Which is like one of the dude's favorite wrestlers. And he was like, oh my fucking God, it makes total sense now. And so the next week they did the game again. He gave him the same wrestler. And he was like, wait a second, is this Owen Hart? Yes, it's Owen Hart. I wanted to give you a chance of redemption. And everybody's like, hey, dude.
Yeah. It's a good time. It's a good time. I'm probably gonna listen to some more episodes while I'm working in the shop this weekend.
It is genuinely a really good podcast. I hope they keep going after this is all done.
Yeah, maybe not quite as regularly as they have been. Maybe take it to like a monthly basis.
Monthly basis and live convention.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it for you?
If I think of something that kind of can bounce off of something you have, I'll mention it. But other than that, yeah, I've just been watching a lot of YouTube, a lot of car YouTube, mainly because I've realized, hey, wait a second, I'm 26, and if I get a car, I probably shouldn't just get something I want. I should probably get something practical. So I've been looking at car videos and just going like, what is practical? What would be practical for me? And so I'm learning and trying to figure out, like, yeah, no, crossover doesn't make sense. SUV.
Corolla.
Yeah. But I'm also thinking, like, all my friends have cars. My sister has a car. My mom has a land boat. My Cody, who was our guest in the Tron episode, has just a regular car. And I was thinking, wait a second, if I got like a trucky kind of SUV Jeep kind of thing, or like a little tiny Ford truck, that's a truck that I could help them all out with if they need truck stuff.
You'll be the truck man.
I'll be the truck boy.
Truck boy, truck boy. Yes, I am down for this meme being real.
Truck boy. Coming to a Swede near you.
Truck Boy, a new series coming to Modular Media in 2021.
Truck Boy,
That's
exclusive on Netflix.
It's your mechanic show. You're like, hey, watch me do some dumb shit to my engine and see what happens.
I'm just pouring soda on it. Not in it, just on it.
I want to see what it smells like after I turn it on.
Hi, I'm going to Sharpie the words VTEC on my engine. It's not a VTEC engine. I'm just Sharpieing it on.
This tailpipe, it's named Marmaduke.
Alright, what the fuck have you been up to? Because
I've probably been watching about the same amount of TV as you have. I didn't bring it up last episode just because I didn't think Cody would care, but I have been watching Garo Makai Senki, which is the next season of Garo. There's a bunch of movies in between, but the next season of Garo after Garo 2005 is that, and I hadn't seen it before. It's a pretty good follow-up so far. I'm only 4 episodes in. But it basically just feels like, yeah, we're picking up right where we left off, but everything looks a little nicer now because it's 2007 and HD is a thing now.
How many titties?
Do I count women in lingerie?
Yes.
I'd say about 25.
Individual titties or pairs of titties?
Individual.
That's an odd number. So someone only has one tit?
No, they cover one with a sheet.
Oh, that's where
I
you're
wasn't.
counting.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Okay,
count that as
okay.
lingerie. And I mean, like, there's titties all over the intro this season.
Anime titties.
Just a CGI demon woman with her tits out, floating around.
Tits.
That Keita Amamiya, what a rascal.
Tits and gold. That's his things. Tits and
Yep.
gold.
And grotesque demon monsters based off of household objects.
Including dildos.
There's one based off of a lighter in the second episode. It was really cool. I did also watch Pokemon Twilight Wings, and I'll fully admit I was pulled into it because of the huge controversy around the fourth episode. And by controversy, I mean people are still stupidly petty over certain Pokemon not being in Sword and Shield.
Mm.
Essentially, the fourth episode is entirely about Nessa, because this little character piece is about side characters from the games. And the fourth episode is about Nessa kind of struggling with, she's a model, but she's also a gym leader, and how does she balance those two careers? And she ends up bonding with a wild Milotic, and she realizes, like, oh, Milotic is one of the strongest water Pokemon ever, and it's also lauded as one of the most beautiful Pokemon ever. Milotic can do both, I can do both. And then a bunch of people came out of the woodwork to go like, Milotic isn't in Sword and Shield. What are you doing, you because the internet's fun.
Oh god.
But I found that episode to honestly be really charming, and like it's a weird thing where I'm watching it and I'm going, wow, this voice acting is terrible in every episode, and yet I'm still really enjoying it. Like it still all does everything it needs to me. It's just the voice acting doesn't feel right. Like my dub senses are tingling, basically.
Your dub senses are tingling. Why does Sanji sound like he's from Brooklyn?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I did also catch up, at least until today, because he just released a new one. I caught up on Chris Van Vliet, watched Leo Rush, Britt Baker, Sonya Deville, and Matt Cardona.
I watched the first half of Matt Cardona.
It is infectious how excited he is to be a Carney again.
Oh yeah. And he's just like going like, I'm surprised it hasn't happened before. I'm just like, I'm hyped for this, man.
Yeah. Like, what a fantastic attitude about life that man has. Like, it's so great to see this bring another side out of him other than Goober who likes toys.
Yeah, but you know damn well he's going to AEW and he's going to make bank.
Yeah, but he's got to make a pit stop at Japan and wherever the hell Rory Fox is first.
Oh yeah.
The Sonya Deville one was also really fun, just because about halfway through the interview, Chris goes, "Oh, we have a fan question here from somebody named Nick who is saying, like, you know, haven't you misjudged Dolph? Don't you think he's just a nice guy that's misunderstood? Maybe you should slip into it. It's written by Dolph Ziggler because him and Chris Van Vliet are friends in real life."
And that's fucking great.
Yeah. And other than that, I have been playing a fuck ton of No Man's Sky because my coworkers dragged me into that.
Is it fun? You having fun?
It's very fun. It's basically Minecraft in space with a more straightforward story.
It took a while for that game to get to the point where people going like, yeah, no, it's a good game. It had a very rocky start.
Yeah, that's what they were telling me was like, what do you know about it? And I was like, I've seen the Down the Rabbit Hole episode, and they're like, there's been a redemption arc since then.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people understand that. It's just a lot of people go like, yeah, but I don't want to fucking put the effort in right now.
Mm-hmm. But no, we've been getting on pretty much every weeknight at like 9 and playing till midnight, and it's been super cool.
That's good.
It's strange but fun to be bonding with my coworkers outside of work. because they're relatively close to my age and have somewhat similar interests.
They're probably still pretty dang normie compared to us, right?
Yeah. I mean, like they're both mid-30s. One's in a serious committed relationship. The other is married with two tiny daughters. And this is like the most nerdy stuff they have time for. But we do regularly.
Well, at least you have something in common with the tiny daughters and with My Little Pony.
Listen, motherfucker. I will get in my car and come down to Florida if you fucking insinuate shit like that again. I never actually. I was more of a the ponies are my waifus kind of guy, actually, and I'm deeply ashamed of that.
You should be.
Yeah.
Now Supergirl's your waifu, and you just have to be ashamed of that.
I'm not ashamed of that. She's a great character. No one fucking realizes it though, because no one can fucking write her except for me, because I'm a genius. I'm gonna eat this glue now. But that pretty much.
If we were bigger, you know exactly the kind of comment people would make to what you just said.
That I'm a simp.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
Baby, simple kind of man.
Plug your shit.
Hi, I'm Boingo fucking Ryder. Take the fucking out. That's not part of my name. I make YouTube editorials.
It can be.
What?
It can be. You just have to make it happen, buddy.
Yeah, no. That's just gonna bring me down in the algorithm. I make YouTube video editorials where I talk about shit and act as if I know shit, but I don't. And that means I know more shit than people who say they know shit. That's knowledge shit.
That's some Steiner math you got going there.
No, I mean, you know the philosophy. The wiser man is the one who admits he does not know everything.
I've not heard that before.
It's basically the idea if you say, oh no, I know everything, you're inevitably going to be brought something you don't know, and it makes you look like an idiot. But if you say, yeah, no, I don't know everything, you immediately acknowledge that your knowledge, you acknowledge that your knowledge is limited and thus can still be expanded.
So it's kind of a who's the more foolish, the fool or the fool who follows him kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's knowing your limitations, knowing where you are at the world. Because I could go on and say, like, I know my shit, but then someone can point out and go, like, hey, dude, you fucked up there. And it's like, oh, giant egg on my face. But if I go, I don't know my shit. I know some shit, but I don't know all of it. And I make a mistake. People go, like, oh, man, you made a mistake. I can go, like, dude, you know what? I did. I can learn from that. Thank you.
Cool. So where can I find your videos?
YouTube, Boingo Rider. Just Google it. Link to my page is in the description. Also in the description is my Instagram and my Discord server where we kind of hang out. We post a lot. It's actually becoming a little bit more lively lately.
Yeah, we're getting stuff to happen.
Yeah. That's about it. Oh wait, I didn't mention Twitter. Fuck Twitter.
Yeah, fuck Twitter. Hey, follow me on Twitter. I'm the Vacuuminator. I'm a toy collector vlogger personality, and I make videos on YouTube as well. You can find me at youtube.com/thevacuuminator, and you can keep up with everything I'm doing by following me on Twitter at the Vacuuminator. And hey, you could also follow me on Instagram, which is the Vacuuminator, although I'm not really active on there right now. I want to be more active on there. It's just a matter of getting a fucking photo booth set up in my new house. That's on my to-do list. But for now, that's the stuff. And the things are Modular Media. That's where this podcast is. If you want to get more episodes of this podcast as they come out, go ahead and subscribe. It's a little button. Should be right down right down there. I'm pointing, but it's an audio podcast. Yeah, just subscribe, ring the bell to enable notifications. And hey, if you want to listen to the show on the go and you don't pay for YouTube Premium, we got a little Google Drive folder down there in the video description. Should be an MP3 of this episode and many, many more down there, unless it's run out of space by the time you're listening to this, in which case, sorry. Hey, if you want to get updates on the show as we have them, follow us on Twitter at the Modular Media and join our subreddit r/Modular Media. That is all. Until next time, we will see you then when we'll be discussing TNA No Surrender 2007. I gotta go figure out where we can watch that now. Bye!